Hey everybody, welcome back to another fun and exciting Algebra 1 class. Today's lesson, we'll be doing lesson 6.4. This is called Special Cases for Binomials. What's a special case? Well, there's two types of binomials that we want to kind of pay special attention to because they're different from all the other binomials that we deal with. So if you have your book, go ahead and open to page 203 and we'll look at these special cases. 203. All right, so the first special case is when it's a binomial squared. What does that mean? Well, just like anything else squared, it's a binomial times the same binomial. So x plus y times x plus y. So if you look right here in the book, they have this example of x plus y squared, which means x plus y times x plus y. Now, in the last lesson, you learned that you can FOIL that. You can do first, outer, inner, last. So first times first gives you x squared. Outer times the outer gives you xy. Inner times inner gives you another xy. You'll see these right here in pink. And then the last is going to give you y times y, which is y squared. Now, when you combine these, it gives you 2xy. Now, there's this special thing when you're multiplying, and this only works for squared. So x plus y times x plus y. If it was x plus 2 times x plus 3, it doesn't work. But if it was x plus 2 times x plus 2, that's a squared. And so that would work because all you're doing is squaring x plus 2 times x plus 2. Okay? So it only works when you have squareds. In this case, here's what happens. You're always going to get the same thing right here. What is that? Well, let's take a look at it. You can look there in your book while I'm showing you on the screen. I would write this down in your notebook somewhere. That way you have it. So the first thing is you always square the first term of the binomial. So if we look at this binomial right here, we have x plus 3 squared. What they're saying is this first term of the binomial. Remember, this means x plus 3 times x plus 3. Okay, and remember, we could do the first, outer, inner, last, but we're going to save that. We're going to skip that step here. And so we're just going to do what the book is telling us. We're going to take basically a shortcut here. Okay, so here's the shortcut. Square the first term of the binomial. That's this guy right here. So x becomes x squared. Okay. Double the product of, so number 2, double the product of the first and last terms of the binomial. So first and last terms, the product of the first and last term. So here's the first term, here's the last term. What's the product? What's x times 3? X times 3 is 3x. And now what does it say? It says double the product. Okay, what's double the product? So this is the product. What's double the product? Well, 3x plus 3x, that's doubling it. So is going to give you, or you could say times 2. Okay, so either way, doubling it means times 2 or whatever. So how would you do times 2? It's just you multiply the number, so that's going to be 6x. Don't put a squared with this because there's no x over here. When you double something, it's not times 2x, it's just times 2. Okay, good. So 6x right here. So that's our middle term. And this is all positive right here. So it's going to be a positive 6x. And then the last one is to do what? Square the second term of the binomial. What's the second term? Well, it's 3. What is 3 squared? It's 9. So plus 9. All right, now I'm going to do this over here because I want you to see it. I want you to see that that actually does equal that. So let me get rid of this and let's go back to this and let's actually do one and see, okay, is this actually true? So x plus 3, x plus 3. We're going to actually FOIL this out. So first, this is what we were doing last class, gives me x squared. And then we would do outers. So that gives me 3x. Inners gives me another 3x. And then my last is going to give me 3 times 3 is 9. When I combine these right here, 3x plus 3x gives me x squared plus 6x plus 9. Guess what I have? The exact same thing. So if you want to take the shortcut, then you can. You are not required. Like, I'm never going to say you have to take the shortcut. This is kind of a little lesson right here that's kind of, it's just going to help you. If you can learn that shortcut, it's just going to save you a whole bunch of time. Also, in the last lesson, I told you about factoring. So in chapter number 7, we're going to get into factoring. And so when we do get into factoring, what's going to happen is we're actually going to take this right here and we're going to go backwards, and you're going to get this right here. We're going to unwrap it. Remember, we're going to unfoil the present. And so we're going to go backwards, and we're going to kind of, go from the answer back to the question. And so when we do that, it's going to help. If you can see this mentally, it's going to help you when you try to go back to this right here. Okay? So let's do one more, or maybe a couple more, and we'll try to learn this method, and then again, you can use it if you want, or you don't have to. All right, so what is step 1? We are going to do what? We are going to square this. So squaring this is going to give us 49x squared. 7 times 7, 49. And then we have a plus sign, so all these signs are going to be positive. And then in the middle, what do we get? Well, the middle is a little bit of a tricky one. So we're going to double the product of the first two terms. And so what are the first two terms? Well, it's the 7x times the 4x. And so what is the product of that? Well, that is a 28x. And so we're going to double that times 2. What's 28 times 2? It's 56. So that's going to be 56x. And then we will square the last term. So square of 4 is 16. And so there you go. There is your solution. You do not have to FOIL that one. You can if you want. You're going to end up with the same answer. Okay? All right, here we go. Let's do one more. These are getting a little bit more complicated, every one, but just follow the steps and you should be fine. All right, so here we go. We are going to take this one here and we're going to square it. So we're going to get 16x squared. Now the middle one, again, a little tricky on this one. Don't forget, you see that little negative sign right there. So there's a little trick in this one. When you're doing negative signs, it's just kind of, if it's a negative, you just put a negative. You don't have to really keep the sign out. So what's the product of 4 times 3? All right, 4 times 3 is 12. What's the product of x times y? Just xy. And then we're going to double it times 2. So multiply your 2 by that, and you get 24xy. And then here at the end, now this is one where it's a little bit of a trick right here, because when you square that, it's a -3 times a -3. Negative times negative is always going to give you positive. So this last sign is going to be positive. And it's 3 times 3, which is 9. Y times y is y squared. So that would be your answer right there. 16x squared minus 24xy plus 9y squared. All right, so hopefully you're getting those a little bit. The next thing we want to talk about is a conjugate. What is a conjugate? A conjugate is something that is the same thing like a square, except for the sign is different. So for example, down here, x plus 4, x minus 4. That's a conjugate, okay? So the square was x plus 4, x plus 4. The conjugate is x plus 4, x minus 4. All right, so that's good to know what a conjugate is. So coming back up here, how do we multiply these? These are another special case. So these ones are super, super easy. I think you're going to like these. The squared is a little tricky there with that middle term, but check these out. And again, this is just another shortcut that you can use. Step number 1, multiply the first terms. Okay, multiply the first terms. So coming down here, x times x is x squared. X squared. Okay, that was easy. Now check this out. Number 2, we're going to skip to the last terms. Multiply the last terms. So we come over here, plus 4 minus 4. So that's going to give us a minus 16. Okay, you might say, I thought you were supposed to write something in the middle. No, just follow the steps that we're giving you, and you'll get the correct answer. Number 3, the outer and the inner terms will always cancel. What does that mean? Well, if we were foiling this, so let's go ahead and foil it. So x plus 4, x minus 4. We would do the firsts, and we would get x squared. We would do the outers, and we would get minus 4x. We would do the inners, and we would get plus 4x. And then we would do the last, and we would get our minus 16. Notice here with these inners, these always cancel each other out. Negative 4 and a positive 4 always are going to cancel out. So negative 4x plus a positive 4x, that's going to cancel every single time. And what are we left with? We're left with x squared minus 16. Okay, what did we have over here? X squared minus 16. So if you will learn this little process right here with the conjugate, it's going to save you a bunch of time. That way you don't have to FOIL it all, and then the middle terms cancel anyways. So when you recognize, oh, that's a conjugate, well, that middle term is going to cancel out every time. It has to. There's no other way about it, so you don't even need to do it. You just really need to do step 1 and step 2, and you're done. Okay, let's do one more. Here we go. We have our first terms, so our 3x and our 3x, and we're just going to multiply that together. So we're going to get a 9x squared. 3 times 3 is 9. X times x is x squared. Negative, positive, so this is going to be a negative in the middle. And then we're going to get 2 times 2 is 4, and there is your solution. 9x squared minus 4. It's that easy. I knew you'd like that one, okay? And then we'll do this one more, a little bit harder, and then I'll let you go for this lesson. All right, so same thing. We're just going to take our firsts, and we are going to multiply those together, and we're going to get 16x squared. And then we'll take our 2y cubed and our 2y cubed, and we will multiply those together, and we will get 4y to the, make sure that when you multiply these, again, you're not multiplying exponents, but when you multiply exponents, you add exponents. So it's not a 9 there. It's a 3 plus 3, and that's a 6. So 16x squared minus 4y to the 6th, and that would be your answer. Okay. So again, not extremely challenging there, especially with the conjugates. Those ones are easy. Hopefully that simplified things for you. With the squares, that middle term, yeah, you gotta, multiply it, and then you gotta multiply it by 2, and it can be a little bit more difficult. But hopefully that made sense to you, and you can take these and just follow those simple rules. When all else fails, if you're struggling, okay, if you're like, I don't get this, go back to FOIL. Just keep practicing your FOIL, because if you keep foiling it, you will get the right answer. As you get better at it and as you start seeing more of these, I think that this, what we just went over for squares and conjugates, will really help you, and it'll speed up your process, okay? That's all I've got for you. Hopefully you learned something in that lesson. If you missed it, slide it back. Watch it again. We'll see you later. You have a good one. Bye-bye.